I'm Austin Murphy, and this is my presentation on POP3 SMTPS. We'll be looking at different applications for each protocol. For POP3, we will look at Dovecot, and SMTPS, we will look at postfix for Linux and IIS on the Windows. Before we jump into the applications, we should distinguish the protocols and the three TCP protocols. They give us the ability to send and receive emails. Sending the emails is SMTP, and receiving will be IMAP and POP3. So what is SMTPS? It runs on port 25 by default. It's a simple mail transfer protocol. Like I said, it's used for sending out email from an email client such as Outlook or Thunderbird to an email server. It can also be used to relay and forward mail messages from one server to another. It uses the TCP protocol. So you'll get, if the messages are not delivered, we'll get error emails. The POP3 and IMAP are protocols to receive email from a mail server. In this graph over here, we see the last one we sent to the server using SMTPS, and now we are using POP3 and IMAP to receive off the server. The post office protocol uses port 110 by default, and it downloads your mail, whereas IMAP port 143 will sync your mail. POP3 Dovecot. So on Dovecot's website, it advertises itself as the secure IMAP server, but it has IMAP and POP3 capabilities. So that's why we're using it for POP3. And postfix handles the sending of the mail. Dovecot is the most standard IMAP server that is used as well. And we'll configure it to talk to postfix for sending mail, and we'll configure it to talk to MariaDB or another database that can be used to authenticate our users. And one more thing I'd like to point out is that IMAP and POP3 can be seen as a POP functionality, whereas SMTPS can be seen as a push functionality. So that's a good metaphor, like when we use arrays or we use on the stack in programming. So Dovecot was designed to be secure from the beginning. There are some ways to fine-tune it, and I've listed some of these methods below. SMTPS, we'll look at postfix, and then we'll look at IIS. Actually, we'll start with IIS because its installation of IIS is much quicker. It's all automated in Microsoft IIS. The same way that we installed IIS, we'll open our server 2015. We'll go into Add Roles and Features. We'll scroll down to SMTP Server and check that off, and that will install it. Now when we go back into our IIS Manager, we'll have a new tab here for our mail server. And it should be underneath our web server that we configured. There's a lot of steps in configuring it we're going to have to go through. Here's a link, one source to do so. It's important after we set it all up, we'll need to go back into the firewall, create a new rule, TCP inbound port 25. On Linux, we use postfix. And like I said, postfix is SMTPS. It's a push function. We're pushing onto the server. It's a popular open source mail transfer agent, and 25% of all mail servers on the internet use postfix. We'll need a fully qualified domain name and an MX record that are pointing to our mail server. This is the guy that created it. He's also known for creating the Satan application, and as many Linux users are know, TCP wrapper. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I actually have this recording right here. I'll play it.
Hello. Hello. A frequently asked question is, how do you pronounce your name? Well, my name is Wietse Venema.
So he created postfix and some other popular applications. Well, the reason we love postfix is because it's maintained and it's also very stable. So SMTPS in general will harden it to prevent disclosure, enhance stability, increase privacy of content being sent. Every service that's connected is sooner to the internet is sooner or later to be abused by automated scripts. Incorrectly configured postfix might send messages to everyone. This is called an open relay server. If you set this up for your corporation and you misconfigure it, it's possible that you will get on blacklists. If you're on a blacklist, all of your email will go to the spam folder. And it is, from what I hear, it's a nightmare to sort out. Yeah, we want privacy as well. So to install postfix, we're going to use apt install postfix. We don't need this git anymore. And then it'll pull up this installation walkthrough here in the console. There'll be like 8 different options we select. And if we want to go back and reconfigure it later, we can type this Debian package reconfigure postfix. We're going to show some ways to harden postfix, and it requires us to configure our configuration files. But before we do that, we need to first we should test it to see if there's anything wrong with it. So postfix comes with postconf method, and we're passing the standard output into dev null. This symbol right here in Linux, you have 0 with that greater than sign, you have 1 with that greater than sign, you have 2 with that greater than sign. 1 is always standard output. So we're sending the standard output into dev null, which is the black hole of Linux. Everything that's printed to the screen will be standard error. It'll be errors with our configuration. We'll want to back up our configuration files before we make any changes so that we can revert back to it using the tar command like we do with any backup. And another way to make backups is to use this postconf into a file, and then we'll use the built-in Unix diff command. It'll show us the difference between 2 files. Well, one recommendation is to enable hello. So similar to humans, when an email is sent to a server, they normally greet each other by saying hello. This is spelled in email HELO or EHLO, the extended version. And most spam email will not be configured to have this hello message. So we'll want to enable hello. We'll want to disable verify, VRFY. And this command in postfix can be used to, it's a way to query who has emails on this domain. But it can also be used by bad actors to enumerate that and then send spam to it or credentials fish or something. And then nobody wants to be an open relay system. They say when you're making a mail server, the first rule is don't be an open relay system because this will send all of our mail to all the systems. This is what spammers use that will get us on blacklists. And these are some of the commands we can type to fix that. Here are my references. Thanks for watching and giving me the time of the day, and have a good night.